do you feel like your environment or a person's environment affects them how they are later in life? Or do you feel like we have our own choices? I know we're going to say this. We're going to say this. You know we're going to say this. Everyone who's listening is going, there's a Becky specifically is going to say, we have a choice. Of course we have a choice, but not everybody's gone through some of the work that we've been through or really done the things that we've done. And so what do you think about people who they seem just in general difficult? And I'm going to use the word difficult. They may be dumbasses. Okay. I'm just going to say that, like, really those people, you're like, how are you making it in this earth on this planet? You are such a difficult person. Do you think they inherited genes? I'm serious, because there are people in my life that I'm like, how are you surviving and you haven't been run over by a Mack truck yet? I'm real talk. So what do you think about that?
I think it's a combination of all of that. I think that it's their environment of being raised a certain way. Maybe they had to be difficult to be heard. I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe they got rewarded for being difficult. Like that was when they got attention. Like, so when I'm difficult, that's when I get noticed. Also, I think one of the things in our title is about curveballs. When life throws you curveballs, when you have so many curveballs thrown at you, eventually you kind of start fighting back, and you could be labeled as difficult. It would be interesting to hear write in the comments, people, what does difficult mean to you? Because it could be Angie's definition and my definition could be two totally different things. I'll say what mine is, and then you say what yours is. So difficult to me is when you go against the grain, like you don't follow the norm, which is actually a good thing, and butt up against people for the fight. Some people just like the fight and they want to be difficult. They don't want to give you what you want because they want to withhold it. And so, which is kind of a lot multi-layer there, meaning wise, they just don't want to give you what they want. And another element.
Go back. Hold on a second. They don't want to give you what you want.
They don't want to give you what you want because they're withholding it, like as punishment or as I'll show you.
Yes, there's that one. That I know that person and that person. Yes, that is so true. That is so true.
There's also that person who doesn't have a filter. And I know that person.
And they're proud of it though, too. They like wear it. We talked about like a badge of honor, or like it's their thing. It's like their thing. It's like that may not be a good thing, but maybe it's working for them. Right?
I'm thinking of someone in particular, and I'm choosing not to say their name.
Let's do that.
I'm honoring that person. I don't think this person is aware, and they are at an age now that they kind of laugh about it, and we all do. And so, and it's okay. However, years ago, it was really difficult for me, really, really difficult, because there was no filter, and it took it personally. The things that were said, I made it feel like it was about me, like it was an attack on me. And once I was able to shift to this person has best intentions, because
do you really think so?
So yes, because it was just because I didn't like the delivery didn't mean I couldn't accept the message.
But that has nothing to do with intentions, though. That really, I mean,
but their delivery.
Okay, so the what they were saying was actually valuable. It had value, but it was how they said it.
If I sifted through it really carefully, I could see some value in there. And if I couldn't and didn't see value and took it as an insult, a personal attack, I learned how to stand up for myself. So there is value in learning how to stand up for myself against a difficult person.
100%. I agree with that. That has a lot to do with it, because it's how to deal with difficult people. My first thought was, when we were talking about this, or we were exploring this as a topic, my first thought was, this could be really, really short for me. How do I deal with difficult people? I don't. I mean, as little as possible. But to be real, there are difficult people almost every day. And people
Yeah.
just in our lives, they're difficult to be difficult. And one of the points that you said was, so what I learned a long time ago, especially raising my daughter, when I was raising Felicia, I learned that negative energy is better than no, or negative attention is better than no attention at all. And so when Felicia would start acting out, as all kids do, because she's not 100% perfect, she's really, like, really, really close. But when she'd start acting out, I looked at it like, oh, I finally realized she's just trying to get attention, because I had so many things going on that I wasn't giving her the attention, not because she needed an exorbitant amount of attention. She just needed mom's attention.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, to your point about people often are difficult because they get a reaction. It's better than no reaction at all. I agree with that. It's kind of
What's your
like,
definition of difficult people?
well, real quick, I was going to say, it's kind of like the trolls. Trolls on the internet. That's exactly. It's not
Um,
who I was thinking of, but it's who. It's
like our troll.
yeah. I mean, I'm so lost. I've really tried to make sense of what was written and I have no response. I really don't, because I don't even know where we're going with what's being said. My brain doesn't have the ability to make sense of it. That's just me.
I don't think anyone's does. No,
But they're
no.
heard, they're
Anyways,
seen, whatever. I mean, and I honor whatever somebody wants to, I don't take it personally. What is my definition of a difficult person? It was very much like you were saying. I think a difficult person is one who, they lack awareness most of the time. I want to give the benefit of the doubt that they don't realize that they're uh, obstinate or throwing roadblocks or just trying to go against the grain. Like, I think that's the best way you said it, going against the grain. Like, if I say it's red, they're going to say it's black, and vice versa, and it's like, that is a red light. It's when it's even obvious. Difficult people, most of the time, though, what I really feel about difficult people, I have learned that I give people grace up to a point. A lot of times for me, I feel like I get frustrated with people because of whatever reason. It could even be somebody in the grocery store, when you're pushing your cart and they're like, you feel like they're blocking you, or I don't know. Am I the only one, Becky? Have you had that? Have you, like, you're
I
going
would
on?
like to write a book about grocery store etiquette.
Okay.
And don't be a dick.
It's really
like, seriously.
Thing. And those
Oh
are
my
those
gosh.
difficult people, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. You should just put on your badge before you walk in the grocery store, difficult person. I am a dick, and I'm going to block the grocery cart line. I'm going to park my cart sideways down the aisle so you can't get through. That person. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And they stand like, at least 3 feet back to look at everything. So you can't, like, get around them, and you want to reach in front of them to get what you need, and you stand and you wait. And so Jake is notorious. I got to say, Jake is notorious for waiting it out. And I'm like pushing him, like, just reach in there and I'll just get in there and get it. So, but yes, so the person at the grocery store, you just have this, like, for me, okay, I'll tell you a true story. True Angie story. At the grocery store, it's around holiday. I'm having a big party. I'm trying to get some alcohol. Don't get between me and the alcohol around holiday and parties. And it was a husband and wife, and they were shopping in the same area. And when I would come around one direction, he'd come around the direction. And then he was doing the parking the cart sideways. He was, what I felt was being obviously difficult. And so and she was standing back and she was watching this. And I'm thinking, is she going to say anything? And she didn't. So finally I was like, that's it. That's it. So when I came around and he started blocking me again, I ran right into him. He moved.
Like, literally, physically,
with
your
my
cart or
cart
your body?
my cart into his cart. I was just like, I'm not going to move one more time. And it could be totally making it up in my head, but that's kind of how I feel. At some point, you've like, enough's enough. That is a true story. However, most of the time, the way Angie handles it is I try and give people grace, because I remember you never know what someone's going through. Or one of my defaults that I use with people, or how I justify in me, is that not only do I not know what they're going through right now in this moment, but I don't even know if they're well. Meaning, what's their mental health like? What's going on for them really deep down? And I don't want to be that trigger, right? I don't want to be
Could they
that person.
snap? Yeah.
Right. I don't want to be that person that says that one thing or anything. So, yeah, I try and keep those things in mind mostly. So that's kind of when in dealing with difficult people, trying to give grace.
So what's your definition of a difficult person?
No, that's what I already said. It was like somebody who's intentionally goes against the grain, or,
Okay.
or sometimes they feign to be oblivious. My definition of a difficult person is someone who is difficult by nature and is going to be difficult. Somebody can be having a difficult time, and they can be behaving difficultly. Is that right? Is that the right word? They can be difficult.
Yes, it is.
Difficultly. No, I don't like the way it's said. And I probably, whatever. So someone
They
could
behave difficultly.
Yeah, see, it doesn't sound right, does it? So they could be behaving in a way that is difficult, but I think that is just situational, where someone who is a difficult person is just difficult.
I like to restructure sentences when I don't know how to say a word.
That's how I
Okay, so I'm curious. What I heard you say, someone is naturally difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think that comes from? How did they become naturally difficult?
Oh, I think life experiences. And I think it also can be genetic. It can be a number of things, but I think life experiences, like you said, that accumulation of things that have happened in their life that the curveballs. And it could just be that one last one at some point in their life where they were just like, I'm done. I'm done trying to have resilience or trying to work this out. And they're just going to wallow in it and bring everyone else down in it that will allow them to. Allow them to. And then there are the people, my favorites, the passive aggressive ones. The ones that act like they're not difficult, and they're just, yeah. Have you had any experience with some passive aggressive individuals in your life?
I'm curious, would you qualify a passive aggressive as a difficult person?
I'd say that they're difficult to I was going to say deal with, difficult to manage the relationship. Yeah, they're difficult. They're difficult because I really want to make sure I'm clear on this. They are difficult people because they're creating a chaos. They're creating disorder. They're creating an environment that's not conducive to just well-being, peace, and working together and harmony and doing for others and being helpful. No, there's a whole different agenda. That's difficult. It makes it difficult. And that's a good question though, too, because what I'm thinking is, are they being difficult or they're creating difficult?
Or do they even know they're being difficult?
Well,
because passive aggressive, I think, comes from, the person I have in mind is being a martyr. Like, she's a total martyr, and she's like, "Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me." And it was, how can you not when somebody says that?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Okay, I want good luck with that. No, I get it. Yeah. So guilt has a plays in that. So maybe it's not just difficult people as in like that one little class, but in people in general, that it's, so how do you deal with the people that kind of, you get sucked into that, like you said, the shopping cart, for me, the shopping cart guy, or the experience at the grocery store, or, the servers. There's a big thing that people talk about these days, of how bad service is across the board. And are those people, thinking about it, are they difficult people, or are they it's just okay to just not to deliver good service? You know what I mean? Like,
I think that is, some people don't care. They're just there to get a paycheck. And I mean, over the last few years, they might be the only person that showed up to work that day, and it's all on them.
Mm-hmm.
So this, what's coming up for me? Because it's got to make sense in my brain. The 5% of analyst in me, it's got to make sense in my brain. And like classifying, level 1 difficulty, level 2 difficulty, level 3. And like, she's a level 5, that's the job.
Yeah, yep. Nuclear bomb type. Yeah.
He
Well,
doesn't care. They park their shopping cart in the middle of the aisle and intentionally.
they leave their shopping cart in the parking lot and let
Oh.
it roll, you know? There's those
And
people.
then it's monkey see, monkey do. Now I'm complaining because if somebody leaves their cart, then the next person goes, "Oh, well, I can just leave my cart here too."
They
And
stack it
before you know it,
inside that one
you've got 20 carts. What
off a curb.
I I have no tolerance for that. Like people, especially during COVID, like your cart is not going to give you COVID. Put it away. It's called cart return for a reason. Put it back.
Oh gosh, the
I
carts.
do have some energy around that. That like seriously.
I did this the other day. I took the cart. Jake and I were grocery shopping. I took our cart, and I put it back. And then he looked for me. He's like, he couldn't find me. I had gone around. There was a rogue shopping cart, and I went and got it, and I put it back. He's like, well, what he saw was me coming from around another car with our cart. And he's wondering, did you go like all the way around to go back to put the cart over there? I was like, no, because I have been that person who's come out and a cart has been against my car. And I'm just like, just doing random act of kindness to keep somebody's car from getting dinged from the cart. I mean, how difficult is it? But my favorite is, though, the stacking the car or putting a cart on the curb because it's not going to roll. Get points for that.
Seriously.
And then
Yeah.
the other ones who stack them into them. And then you got the guy who has to come out, generally a guy or the girl that comes out and has to figure that mess out. Those are difficult people.
During the holidays, my son and I went to Costco together, and there were like 10 carts, just exactly what you're saying. And it was at an angle to where it was blocking a parking space. And so Henry and I we pulled them out, all 10 shopping carts, and rolled them over to the little shopping cart return. So this is what's coming up for me too. If we're talking about difficult, what's the opposite of difficult? Which you just described. You returned somebody's shopping cart that they left in another place. So how do you override that difficulty is be kind. Those random acts of kindness. When I get out of my car in the parking lot and I see someone's almost done with unloading their cart, I will ask, can I return your cart for you?
I love to do that.
Be kind. It doesn't cost anything. And that person drives away with a smile on their face. They're happy and you're spreading joy.
Well, you're kind of writing the universe too. So there's enough things that are going on with the shopping cart stacked up on the curb. When you're the person who can ask somebody, hey, can I take that for you? Or you help with that, or you hold the door for someone, or you, whatever that is. I think we're kind of creating a balance in the universe of, let's hopefully get more of the spreading joy and kindness. And that also, I get credit. I get credit when I'm nice to those very, very difficult people. Because I'll go and I'm just being this in a facetious way, but like there are times that I am going to win this person over. I got to tell you a story. This is probably where you asked me, where did this come up from for me? This topic of difficult people. I think I know. I think I do know. There's a restaurant that Jake and I go to every weekend. We've been going to the same little diner, kind of mom and pop diner for, I don't know, maybe 3 years. It's under new ownership. And this is the kind of diner that nothing never really matches. The silverware is a little different. There's always little plaques on the wall. There's pictures of Elvis. It's, like the soup of the day is like split pea and, just it's that kind of place, and always quaint. Loved it there. Well, it's new owners. New owners come in. Now, most of the clientele, we're probably the youngest on average. Jake and I are the youngest that go to this restaurant. And new owners come in. And the first thing we noticed was it was like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini parked right in front of the restaurant. Really good parking spot. Didn't think anything of it. I'm like, wow, somebody's here with their Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever it is. Okay. Walk in the restaurant and it's like stripped of all the cuteness that was in there. It was really stark. And I'm like, oh, so what's going on with this? And then I see this new person. You walk into a place you've been before and you're like, oh, it's you. You've changed this. He happens to be a very tall man and totally stands out. And I asked which, by the way, I thought that the lady who was like hostess, I thought she owned the place and she doesn't. And so I said to her, Miss Mary, who's that? She goes, the new owner. Oh, the Ferrari, the sports car out front. My wheels are turning. Okay. Okay. Well, change, fine. We're going to, no problem. We go a couple of weeks and he came up to me and I had ordered his special, cinnamon roll.
He being the owner.
Yeah, the owner. He had really been talking about this special cinnamon roll that they had new on the menu, wanted me to try it or wanted us to try it. So I did. Well, it was raw in the center. And I didn't want to say anything. So because I don't want to be the difficult person. And I just let it go and let's just go on our way. And he came over and he said, so how was everything? And you have that moment where it's like, what do I say? Well, I have to be honest because
you tell him the truth.
You have to tell him the truth. And so I told him, it was sitting right there. It was, once he looked at it, I showed him that, and then he asked another question. I was like, well, actually my food was cold when it came out. You ask, don't ask if you don't want to know. This guy, this owner refuses to this day to look at me. He will not engage with me. He will walk around the restaurant. When I walk in, he looks away. He will not talk to me. He will not fill my coffee cup up with the coffee. I can have no coffee in my cup. He'll fill everyone around me, but he will not fill mine. Dude, you're the one that asked. If you don't want to know, don't ask. And it was to help you. Well, the final straw, which I actually there was one day that we pulled up and there was a Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever, and two exotics, two very expensive. Oh, and another one was a Viper, parked right in the front. And like I said, the clientele that goes to this restaurant are probably 70 years old up, walkers, and you don't park in the prime parking spots with your sports car when So I mentioned it to Miss Mary, and I said, you might want to tell the owners that they have really nice cars, but they're taking up the prime parking spots for the customers. That was the nail in the coffin for him ever again. But the thing was, why
you lost a friend.
I did. No, we never were friends. But the thing is, why I say it's difficult. That's a difficult person. How do you have that situation? How do you navigate that difficult situation with someone? Is he a difficult person? I don't know. I don't know. I will never know because we're not going back. I think that's me.
So now you've decided you're not going back to the restaurant. You're done.
We're done.